Although I kind of feel like I'm driving this one a little bit more like a maniac than I was driving the Freightliner. So hello and welcome back to SnowRunner, y'all. Now in this video, we're going to be jumping back into Dubs' upcoming map called Sawyer Heights. And we're going to be taking on another contract that essentially will allow us to finish the build of the solar farm. However, before we get on to any of that, check out what we have on this barn right here. I'm going to show y'all real quick because it is so freaking cool. So let me go ahead and pull away from the side of the barn. Look at that. There's a literal TC Customs sign on our freaking barn. That is so sick. So let's go ahead and get this trailer hooked up so we can go ahead and drop off the rest of the remaining. This is not all of the beams that we needed for this contract, but it's definitely all that we have left. So let's go ahead and lower you down real quick. Get it hooked up. And that should be good to go. And now I feel like I should probably lift this thing back up. Because to be perfectly honest, when the tow and haul suspension is in its low mode, quote unquote, it gets a little bit, I'm not even sure like how to describe it. It gets a little bit like, it's almost like it's too low for the tire size that I have on the truck right now. Which in all honesty could also be just my fault. So that's entirely possible. It is wild, like, having played the game for so long, it is wild going back and using trucks like this they were kind of like some of the first, well, not necessarily this one, but this was the follow-up to one of the first trucks that was essentially kind of the front runner of console modding for a while. Oh, I forgot how bouncy the tow and haul suspension was. It's really, really bouncy. It's a lot worse than you would actually imagine it would be. Although I'm not gonna lie, I'm really, really glad that I went with the high-powered tune, because if I didn't have that, this would be so slow. However, I am very well aware that we are long outside the bounds of realism. And somehow we still almost stall it. Somehow we still almost stall it in the mud. So it's not like it's entirely outside game balance. Because honestly, I feel like if it was entirely outside the game balance, you would basically not be able to stall it ever. Oh, let's go. Come on. Honestly, we just need to keep the speed in it at this point. Although it's like, it's genuinely comical how much faster we're already, halfway out to the objective compared to the delivery that we did out here recently in the Freightliner. Although to be fair, yeah, let's not. But to be fair to the Freightliner was legitimately tuned to be realistic, so I feel like we can't really compare the two. Oh, don't you dare. No! We've already almost rolled over twice. I still need to come back here with a rock crawler. I know I said in the Freightliner video that I needed to come back here with a rock crawler, and I am absolutely not giving up on that. Like, that is something we are definitely doing. I'm just not entirely sure when we're actually going to do it. Because I'm honestly kind of enamored with the missions on this map right now, so I'm trying to, I guess, finish as many missions as I can. Although every time I drive past that mountain and I don't have a rock crawler on the trailer, I'm like, I need to do that. Oh, come on. Oh, don't lift. Do not lift. Honestly, I'll probably end up just digging down. Oh, it's not gonna make it. Yeah, I don't think there was any way we were gonna make it out of that in high. Hell, we might not even make it out in low. We're gonna have to winch. Almost there. It's really not that bad. Like, as long as you stay on top of what you're doing, it's really not all that bad. Although, it is funny to me that the Freightliner would be considered a lot better in terms of, like, you know, people that are very specific about game balance only. And that truck had an easier time getting through here than this one does. Although I kind of feel like I'm driving this one a little bit more like a maniac than I was driving the Freightliner, so that's also kind of a valid consideration. Almost there. And this should actually be, I think, an additional build. 1, 2, 3. That is such a satisfying animation. That is genuinely one of the most satisfying animations in the game. And I know that obviously some of the buildings are also really satisfying to watch build, but like, I don't know, y'all, that solar farm animation is so smooth and so good. It's still one of my favorites. We do have a kind of abandoned scout trailer that we have to go and recover, and we're starting back at the shop because I kind of wanted to do, honestly, a little bit of a fresh start for the truck and the suspension setup, and I wanted to get rid of the weight on the front end because we're not going to need it for this. It's just a lost scout trailer, but knocking this out will actually give us a good bit of progress. So I am very clearly still running the towing suspension. The towing suspension is so unforgiving. It's like, honestly, I often forget how unforgiving the older, like, Lime's towing suspensions were, because if you even remotely hit a bump the wrong way, you're either going to go over, or you're going to snap something in half, or you're going to get a bunch of damage. It's pretty gnarly. Whoop. Just got to get a little bit more momentum into it. See what I mean? They just kind of skip over everything. I mean, there's no denying that the trucks themselves are really fast, but like a little compliance in this suspension would have really been nice. Now, obviously, Lime's trucks have gotten a lot better over time, so you kind of have to remember that going into it. However, going back to some of the older ones, it's an experience for sure. It should be just around the corner now. Who left you out there? That's like, I almost wonder if the premise for this would have been something like the trailer got disconnected like right about here, and then after the waterfall it just like flowed downstream, I guess. Go ahead and winch right to you. That's almost close enough. Here, let me back up just a hair. And where are you going? And you are coming with me. Or at least you're coming with me so long as I can get you out of there. Although, to be fair, that was not actually as difficult to get out of there as I thought it was going to be. It's a lot of supplies, though. Honestly, there's a lot of stuff on there that the shop could use. Looks like there's like an air compressor and a bunch of other supplies. Yeah? Yeah, the shop could use like all of that, like easily. Although, the beauty of this is the fact that that cargo, technically it all goes with the trailer. So even if we were to flip this over and roll it like 10 times, the cargo's still not going to go anywhere. So honestly, we don't even have to worry about it. And actually, in that regard, I wonder how hard we can just send it back to the garage. With the only challenge of it being to not actually roll ourselves over. Honestly, I think we can do it no problem. We're just gonna have to make good driving decisions, which is not always the easiest thing to do. Oh my god! Oh my god! That was so much air. That was honestly a lot more air than I even thought we were gonna get, but the funny thing about it is the fact that the trailer being back there kind of balances us out. Oh. Rip that tree. Oh, oh my god! Are you good? God, everybody that's like, I only drive realistically, is gonna be losing their minds right now. Honestly, sometimes the only way to slow it down after that is just to rip the e-brake. Roads? What are you talking about? I don't need those. Not for this anyway. And boom. I love how it's like, there's no actual description for it right now. It's just here, XP and money. That's literally it.